Hello everyone, MeNoHaxor here, bringing you guys a Season 6 Challenger Janna commentary. Runes and Masteries are in the description as always. I think this game in particular, I want to focus a bit more on laning and warding, because to be honest, this game doesn't really have a whole lot of interesting team fights, and I think that my interaction with the enemy support, who's also an LCS player for Echo Fox, is pretty interesting, mostly because we do have a lot of vision battle, we do a lot of pretty intensive trading, and there's kind of a lot of mind games going on. So I do want to try to cover a lot more of these kind of laning aspects, because I don't think I really talk about laning a whole lot throughout most of my other commentaries, so I would like to kind of mix it up a little bit. So you can see right now, Caitlyn and I are going to go take the Gromp. Now, in general, a bot lane can take a jungle camp pretty easily. I think almost any kind of bot lane pairing can do a jungle camp in a reasonable amount of time, except for maybe like a Soraka. And you're going to see that even though we take the golem camp right here, or the Gromp camp, our goal is that we're going to try to get to a level 2 power spike first before them, and then maybe try to outtrade them. But this bot lane is actually going to respond really well to our level 1 plan, and you're going to see what they're going to do right here. So I'll actually watch them. So normally in this situation, I think I see a lot of people, when they know that the enemy bot lane is taking the jungle camp, they kind of like push the wave or something like that. Like, it doesn't really do anything. Like, I guess pushing the wave kind of gets you to level 2 a little bit faster and kind of denies them the opportunity to get to level 2 power spike. But I think their choice right here is a bit more interesting. So instead of pushing the wave, they're actually just going to run up completely up here. And I think this positioning is a lot better than just straight up pushing the wave, because what this does is that by the time we come down here, the only way we're going to be able to get to these creeps to get to the level 2 power spike is if we have to get past them. But the problem is that we're already kind of, not at super healthy amount of HP, and they also have the the Bard has the bush control right here, which is really important. So what ends up happening is that, we pretty much have to fight them right now, because if we don't fight them and chunk them and get them out of the lane, we're not going to get to this experience, which is a really big deal. So Bard's going to pop out of the bush here, throw a nice Q. I'm going to try to sidestep that so we both don't get stunned, so I at least, can auto. Caitlyn unfortunately gets stunned against the wall, and now, she's going to get pretty wrecked right here. So you can see, if we rewind that small trade, note how I know that, my Caitlyn's stunned, right? So I make sure that I'm at least, autoing somebody, right? Doing a little bit of damage. So I'm every time, even though Caitlyn's backing off, I'm autoing the Bard every time I can. And that's pretty important in general. If they're not hitting you, you should be hitting them back. I shouldn't be running away. That's just kind of dumb. I also immediately place my Trinket Ward inside this bush, because I really need vision of this bush, since Bard is going to be pretty annoying with poking us out. I think in general in this lane matchup, Bard does trade almost as well as Janna, so I do have to be a bit more careful with how I am positioning and how I'm trading, and the one way to help me out with that is if I get this bush warded. So they do hit level 2 first, so we do have to respect that and back off. That's okay. Taking the jungle camp at least gave us a bit of an experience lead as the lane progresses, so I'm not super concerned that we didn't get a level 2 power spike and abused it. That's not a super big deal. Anyways, we're pretty much going to start farming under this wave. I'm going to make sure that if I ever see a creep that needs to be last hit like that, I would auto that creep so that Caitlyn can get the last hit on that. I don't think a lot of supports do that, so I think, understanding when your AD is going to last hit is pretty important, so that way you can guarantee them a couple more CS. So right there, I autoed a little bit too late there, so I actually ended up taking the cannon. Oh well, not a big deal. And you can see right now, let's pause for a second. So this Graves is actually going to be looping around all the way here. I actually ended up telling him that this bush got warded, because when the enemy bot lane is pushing up this far and they haven't even used a trinket yet, I think it's pretty safe to assume they're going to ward up the river. So I told my Graves that, come around if you're going to come for a gank, because if he walks through here, it's not going to be successful. So Graves is pretty much heading his way down, and we're just kind of sitting around waiting until we're level 3. So right here, I see the Graves going in, right? So looking at our team of Graves, Caitlyn, Janna, there's no way that any of these two can actually start the gank. Graves, the problem with Graves jungle is that he has a lot of damage but doesn't have any CC whatsoever. So I need to be the one that starts this gank, essentially. So the way I'm going to do that is that I'm going to use my Q, obviously, my Tornado. I haven't put a point into W yet, so Q is the only way I can engage. So the problem is that if I try to Q, like from this distance, if I just mash Q like immediately, the Q range is only going to be about this wide, and if the Callista even backs up a little bit, she's not going to get hit by the Tornado, and that's just going to be a waste. So the way I'm going to start this gank is that I'm actually going to end up flash queuing. So what flash queuing does is that this pretty much guarantees that the knockup will happen on the Callista, and that way I can follow up with all my other like CC with like my exhaust and then start auto attacking. So you can see that Tornado exhaust was really perfect because now the Graves was able to set up a really nice smoke screen, because this pretty much forces Callista to walk right through the smoke screen, and then she gets blinded and she's even more screwed than before. So now we pretty much just wreck her and we get a free kill. And now we immediately start turning on the Bard. We're gonna start hitting him, and then I also give a shield to Graves to amplify his auto attack damage, and then Bard actually ends up flashing. So I guess the moral of this gank was that it's important to recognize when you are the one that needs to be initiating these ganks, and if your jungler's going to initiate or not. And if you're initiating, it's really reasonable to burn a flash for a kill. Like, especially even if you trade flashes with another AD carry, that's really important that you get their flash out of the way. The Callista was smart and didn't end up using any summoners at all because she knew she was dead, but we ended up getting a Bard flash, which is going to be pretty useful later on. A very minor thing here I do is that I'm actually staying pretty close to my Caitlyn, even though I do run pretty fast. Like, I run 377 right now with no boots. That's pretty quick. But I end up staying pretty much right next to where my Caitlyn is because I want to give her some of my passive movement speed boost so that she can get to the lane faster. I think it's very, very minor in general, but, you know, if they are pushing the lane very quickly, then I might just not give the tailwind boost and just run directly to the lane and try to get some of the experience. But because the Callista was pretty much trying to farm to the best of her ability, me going to the lane a couple seconds faster isn't really going to make a huge difference. Perhaps by getting to the Caitlyn bot lane a little bit more quickly, that might give her 1 or 2 more CS. You never know. Also, I guess right here, what's a really good point is that you can see the Callista is being pretty aggressive and just starts throwing auto attacks at me. And I have to back off right here because if you look at this minion wave is huge for them. If we choose to fight here, we're going to end up taking a lot of unnecessary damage, and it's really not worth trying to fight the enemy bot lane when there are so many minions that could just be attacking you as soon as you try to trade back. So I pretty much have to just back off right now because I know that this is already a losing trade, so I'm just going to, you know, start running away. Caitlyn gets off kind of a nice Q here. I'm going to throw a Tornado as well, so this wasn't a very terrible trade, actually. Like, Caitlyn got off a couple of nice autos on Callista. I didn't really take that much damage because of my shield, but once again, just it's important to recognize how big the creep wave is and to determine whether or not, like, you want to actually trade against them. So when this Bard is clearing this pink ward, I'm going to try my best to auto him to the best of my ability. I make sure to sidestep to the left right here because I don't want to get binded against the wall. That would be pretty bad for me. I didn't really win the trade, but like, I did my best to harass him a little bit and at least get a bit more Frostbang charges. So you can see Graves is pinging, you know, like his, you know, on his way thing. So he's going to do the exact same gank once again of just running bot lane all the way around. So Caitlyn and I are pretty much aware of that. We're going to try to chunk him out a little bit, you know, thin out this wave so that way we don't have to fight against a really big wave just like before. And we're going to try to offset some of this. So right here, we did see a glimpse of the Bard running up to the river, right? So the Graves is sitting right here in a tri-bush waiting for the Bard to come back. So really this Bard is in a super bad position if he runs back down towards this lane. So right now my goal is to try to make sure that the Bard actually does come back so we can start baiting them. So there's 2 ways I can kind of do this. The first way is if Caitlyn runs up to the minion wave over here, that's going to be coming up, and I just go by myself through the river. Because that would encourage Bard to try to fight me, because I think in general, Bard and Janna trades pretty much evenly. Maybe a little bit more favored for Bard. So I know I either have to run up to this bush area over here, or the Caitlyn can just run up to the bush area over here by herself. So one of those options we have to use to kind of bait this Bard to come back to the lane. So the Caitlyn, what ends up doing here is that she actually ends up just kind of base checking this bush right here. She's going to put a trap right here. So now the Bard shows himself, right? Because now, like, he wants to fight. The Callista's going to come out and try to fight because this isn't, like, a great position for me or Caitlyn, I guess. And now we're pretty much signaling to the Graves, you know, it's time to come in. Let's go fight. So I think the only misplay right here is that the Caitlyn kind of walks towards me, and I don't really walk up more, and this kind of sucks because now Bard's going to get a double bind on us. Not too good. The Bard actually misclicks here and ignites me instead of the Caitlyn, which is pretty bad because you should probably ignite the Caitlyn because Callista's going for Caitlyn. But meanwhile, this entire time, I'm just like making sure I try to auto the Bard to the best of my ability. I have no idea why he made a portal because the Caitlyn just kind of ran away. But regardless, I don't think that would have mattered that much because I don't think the Callista would have been able to kill Caitlyn when 3 of us are here. So that was a pretty nice kill and gank by the Graves. Once again, just making sure that even though we had information that the Bard was here, we didn't immediately like go try to chase him through the river because that would just make him run up here. Instead, we just pretended we didn't know, kind of wait around this area, do seemingly dumb things like face check this to try to get him out, and that ended up working out for us. So you can see now this is a 2v1 situation. I'm not really afraid to zone out this Callista because I know that the Callista cannot really trade with me, especially when I have my shield. Like you can see, like right now, I'm just like running up and just throwing out a couple autos. Even under turret right here, like I immediately auto and then back off so I don't take a tower shot, and that is just like super annoying for this Callista. Like you can see how much like I'm getting maybe like 100 or so like damage on her for free. That's pretty nice. Anyways, we got some pings that Poppy was coming, so Caitlyn pastes the trinket here, and we're just gonna back off. We should really respect, junglers, like, and we're not really super high on mana or HP, so we're just gonna back off for a bit. And now we're just gonna keep on farming. No real big deal. Take it nice and slow. So let's actually rewind for a second. So the enemy jungler and LeBlanc and like Gameplangle just pretty much wrecked our Orianna, right? And because of this ward right here, I do see the Bard was trying to roam mid. So I know for a fact that I have 2 choices right now. I can either try to maybe meet the mid, or I can try to pressure this Callista. So I'm not sure if they were actually going to dive this Graves or not. So I start running to this mid lane area, but then I realize that they're probably going to back off because the LeBlanc is low, the Poppy is low. So I immediately think, okay, this is my chance to gank the Callista because Bard is nowhere close to me. Like I have a solid 5 or 10 seconds before the Bard actually makes it back to this lane, so I really have to abuse this window frame to jump on this Callista and fight 2v1. So I don't even care if this is warded. I'm just gonna run straight up. You can see Callista kind of starts to back off. So once again, like I don't have flash to initiate this fight, and I can't really tornado because as long as Callista's running, like she's not gonna get hit by the tornado because he ran at about the same movement speed. So what I'm gonna be doing is that I'm actually gonna initiate with my exhaust this time because my exhaust range will pretty much guarantee that I can get off all my spells, especially my tornado most importantly. So I get off the exhaust, I get off another slow, and then I immediately throw out a Q, and I just barely nick the Callista, which is perfect. Callista has to flash here, Caitlyn also flashes, and unfortunately the Callista also has to heal. So we end up trading 2 summoners for 1. I guess my exhaust, but my exhaust comes up pretty quickly. And then now we're going to immediately turn on the Bard because now the Bard just portaled in, and Caitlyn's being really brave and just autoing because she knows I have her back with shields, and we ended up winning that trade super hard. Like Callista is pretty much like screwed now because she used both her summoners. The Bard got super chunked, and the Callista can't really heal up now. So now we pretty much have complete lane pressure, and we can just start farming up once again. So we do see Poppy is running up here. In this kind of situation, I know that the Poppy is most likely not going to go for me because Caitlyn's a much more juicy of a target, considering that she doesn't have any mana left, so she can't use her E to run away. It's like she's already also at way lower HP than me. So I know for a fact that Poppy's not going to go for me. So this kind of situation, I want to, in case the Poppy does come, I want to be prepared, to like auto the Poppy, throw some Qs out, like really just at least hit the Poppy because I know she's not going to go for me. But the Poppy backed off because she saw the Graves here, so that actually didn't end up happening, but if the Poppy were to jump, that's how you should be reacting. Like, recognizing, like, if she's going to go for the AD or you, and if she's going to go for the AD, you have to, like, hit the Poppy back. So anyways, the Graves is going to go in on this Bard. I'm going to try my best to catch up to this Bard, but he makes a really nice portal to kind of run away. Can't really do much there. So now I know that the Poppy was pretty low, so I'm going to run up to try to pressure them a little bit, but then now I see this LeBlanc coming in, so I kind of have to run away a little bit, throw a quick tornado just to make sure the LeBlanc doesn't do a mimicked W onto me, which would do a fair amount of damage. And instead I'm just going to keep hitting this turret, get some charges off, and then once again right here. So the LeBlanc is going to go in for the double for like the second R on the Caitlyn. I'm not sure if like her throwing a Q and an E would actually kill the Caitlyn after this ult damage. So what I do here is that I shield the Caitlyn, and then I'm gonna try my best to at least stay near the Caitlyn, so that way I can at least, you know, tank the E damage, because that way this Q mark doesn't get procced. Sometimes it's good to soak up a little bit of spell damage to protect your ED's health. In that case, I think that was okay to try to go for that exchange. So anyways, I see my team fighting up here. I saw the Ori was pretty much about to die, so I threw out a shield to protect her from the ignite damage. That easily saved her. That was 2 ticks of ignite damage that would have killed her because she was at 40 HP. And then I'm going to follow the Graves since he's really strong right now. The bot lane's going to come up, but I'm just going to back off because I'm a little bit low on mana and a little bit low on HP, and I know a lot of their bot lane's coming, so I'm just going to run. We did see a Gangplank teleport here, so I know I cannot run up here. That's just like a really bad option, so my only option now is to run downward. I charge up a Tornado here to try to stop the Bard and the Callista. The Bard does a really nice flash Q to not only dodge my Tornado, but to also bind me to a wall. And at this point, I pretty much recognize that I'm dead. Like, there's no way I can escape right now. I do have my flash up, but even if I do end up flashing, I'm pretty sure the Bard can still just auto me and I would still die anyway, so I choose to pretty much accept my fate. I'm just gonna keep running. I die. Kinda sucks. They end up fighting here. Nice teleport by the Nautilus, and Caitlyn's just gonna man up, try to turn, get a really nice Q off all 3 of them, and then Nautilus is gonna get a kill. And then the Graves is coming on the Gangplank, so I end up getting a fair amount of kills there. I think that was 3 kills for 2 deaths, so not a terrible trade by all means. I didn't even end up using my flash either, so not bad at all. Anyways, now that I see that my bot turret's pretty much going to go down, I'm going to immediately start rotating mid. I think it's really important to go mid or top as soon as you finish taking up bot, because that way you can start pressuring other parts of the map. I guess, and also in terms of my items, I'm going to be, I got a Sightstone and boots, pretty much immediately. I went for Frostfang first just because I wanted some more gold generation, and I also carry a pink ward with me so I can help clear some vision. So I saw that the LeBlanc ended up walking right around here. Maybe I should actually keep this in our perspective, and because this is going to be a pretty important part about warding. So I know that the LeBlanc is somewhere right here, so I'm going to try to charge up my Tornado, hoping she's there. I get chunked pretty hard, but I'm not really going to keep chasing forward just because I don't really know where the rest of the enemy team is. Like, I don't know if the Poppy's also just waiting there, so I kind of just back off. It's not a big deal if we don't get a long kill right now. I'm also going to do my best to run up here and get this bush warded. This bush is super important to ward because it shows a lot of information on where if the mid lane is going to go downward to this bot lane, if the jungler is going to be in this area right after taking the Raptors. This bush is super important. It's like it watches this entire like 4-way choke point, and so the Bard ends up dropping a pink here. So I know this is pinked, and I also see that this bush is pink, so I'm gonna start hitting this up. You can also note that as I was clearing out this pink ward, I start charging up Tornado, mostly because, once again, I don't know if the Poppy is just hiding there or not, and so just to make sure that the Bard doesn't just portal over the wall and just try to initiate on me with the Poppy, this Tornado would just stop them. And it's crazy to think of these crazy hypothetical situations, but you never know. Like, it's always better to play safe than sorry, because, you know, I'm not going to need my Tornado for the next, like, 10 seconds, so it's okay to just burn a spell just to play safe. So I see this Bard running down here. I think he might be going for the Caitlyn right now, so I'm going to run all the way around just to make sure my Caitlyn doesn't die. If the Bard chose to engage, then I would be in a very nice position to help her, but he doesn't choose to engage, so that's fine. I'm going to help my, stay at least near my Caitlyn to make sure she doesn't get like punished or ganked or anything like that, and then I'm just going to slowly work my way back up mid with Caitlyn, because it's pretty important. So I saw this ward get, this green ward got placed here, so I actually end up using my pink for this location right now. That's mostly because I think that, you know, Dragon's a pretty important objective to take right now, since we already took the bot turret and we shoved bot, and this is very easy for us to take. So pinking this bush right here is really nice to make sure that they don't actually have any vision of this entire dragon pit area. Graves also got a pink, so I think he put a pink there, and that's really nice because we get a free dragon. Like, this pink ward setup is really nice if they do end up choosing to contest us a dragon, but they end up just forfeiting it, so that's quite nice for us. Now Caitlyn wants to go back bot, so I know that Graves is going to be somewhere in the area for the Orianna, so I don't actually have to go. So instead, I'm just going to pressure this area down here. You know, I see the Kalista was taking the golems. I'll just run up to make sure she's completely zoned out. I also see that the Bard and the Poppy went up top. So since I know that this jungle area is completely safe, I know that I can just run up here and just start warding up this area with the Graves. So I use my last ward right here. I actually, still have my warding trinket just because a lot of the wards I place early on in the game would probably get cleared out by a pink ward anyways. So I feel like it's okay to keep a warding totem even though you do have a sightstone until you're about level 9 or so. So I end up using my last ward on this bush right here. This is a really nice bush to see if anyone on their team is end up taking raptors, because you can maybe get a free kill or a gank on them if they're like tunneling in this area and like everyone else on your team comes through here. Graves ends up warding this bush right here. This is definitely the second bush I would ward if I had an extra ward, just because it watches the jungler running up to take the red buff right here. It also watches the enemy bot lane to see if they're ever going to take golems or rotate to this mid area from the bot lane. Like if I were here farming as Kalista, I'd probably walk straight up like this. So having these two wards is pretty nice vision for that. So I was thinking about helping this Graves, but I actually think maybe I should just help out the mid lane because we do want to end up pushing mid. That'd be very advantageous for us if we can get this mid turret. So I'm gonna stay around here, and this is really important. So the LeBlanc ends up using her W right now to clear the wave. So I know that she doesn't have a whole lot of dashes or escapes right now. So I'm just gonna run straight up and just try my best to CC her for the Orianna. So I throw out a slow. Orianna gets off a W. I'm gonna throw out a tornado because I know with the slow she'll get hit. And now I throw an auto on the LeBlanc, and I also shield the Orianna. And now Orianna's gonna get off, I think, one auto, and then just go for the command shockwave, and she actually ends up killing the LeBlanc blind. So just a little bit of extra spell damage was pretty much the exact amount I needed to help the Ori kill out the LeBlanc. Shielding Orianna for the extra AD for the couple of autos she threw out, and just throwing out all my spells in pretty much like perfect synergy to like CC the LeBlanc for as long as possible was what ended up getting us the kill. And now we get a free turret mid, which is quite nice. I see the Caitlyn is also fighting this bar, so I'm going to start running up here just in case Caitlyn is walking into a trap, because I know that my Orianna and Graves can just keep on pushing mid, so quite nice. You can see, this is kind of funny, but I feel like a lot of people in low elo don't actually do this, which is after you take down a turret, you should always, if you have an extra ward, you should always put down the ward, mostly because now that you have a lot more like lane area, I guess, to like walk down to the second tier turret, warding the lane is pretty important because that way you can see if the enemy mid laner is going to be walking back all the way up here to take your turret. It just gives you a lot of vision on the positioning and what the enemy team is thinking about doing, because if they're starting to gather for a game to push mid, having vision this early is pretty useful, so that way your team can respond to that much more effectively. You can see that all three of us placed a trick in here because we know how important that is, which is pretty hilarious in my opinion. So, anyways, I end up upgrading to Phoenix Codex because I want to finish my Spooky Ghost. I don't think I had enough. I only think I had about 400 extra gold, so I ended up buying another Ruby Crystal. That's going to be for an Aegis soon. So, you can see my team ends up walking down here because we do see a Gangplank that's just chilling out. So, this is kind of awkward because I wish one person on my team actually ended up coming up here so that way they can start pushing the lane instead of me. But I'm pretty much going to stay here, at least give us a little bit of vision on the Gangplank, and at least kind of try to get this wave going. Or maybe even just run through this turret with a shield to help out my team if they're going to fight in this enemy jungle area. I don't know what they're doing. But basically, I concluded that if I want to meet up with them effectively, I need to start pushing out this lane, because even if we don't end up fighting here, by me pushing this lane up here, like, we can always just turn to take this turret instead of fighting them, which is another great option for us. Because just pretty much is opening up more avenues of plays that we can make by pushing this lane out. I'm also just watching myself, or watching my ally team here. So I do see that the Poppy starts to go in here, so I immediately start running down because I'm really scared that they're just going to get wrecked right now. So I see the LeBlanc is going in as well. And I also see the Gangplank is now ulting. He's throwing up a barrel, and now I'm like, oh crap, this is like super bad, right? Like, My team looks like they're in really bad shape. So I'm just going to start running up here. I don't even care if I tank a turret shot. I'm really scared for my Caitlyn or Ori. I'm not sure who he's going for, so I end up shielding the Ori just in case. I don't note that even though like my allies are low, I'm choosing not to ult here because if I ult here, I'm going to end up pushing the gangplank away and we're not going to get a kill. So now that the gangplank has backed off, I know that for a fact that no one on my team is going to die anymore. So there's no point in actually ulting to try to save them. I think that would be a very foolish mistake. So I choose to hang on to my ult. The gangplank ends up flashing. I try to Q the LeBlanc, but I was a little bit too late on that. Didn't react fast enough. But we got a Caitlyn ult on the LeBlanc, so that was quite nice. So we end up getting a kill. And now because I pushed the wave, we can immediately just start heading up to this turret right here and just start pushing it down. So I guess the main takeaway from this kind of fight is that like pushing this lane is really important, so that way I have a lot more options for my team. Flashing over this wall and then shielding whoever I think is going to die and not ulting was definitely the correct play to make. If I wanted to play a bit more optimally, I should have charged up a tornado to catch LeBlanc that was hanging around this area, but kind of hard to predict that. Anyways, we're just going to take this not a scuttle crab, the Rift Herald, and just kind of chill out for now. I do see Nautilus is a little bit low mid, so I'm just going to accompany him here, make sure he doesn't die or get wrecked or anything like that. Nothing super interesting happens. Let me actually rewind that a little bit. Maybe something interesting happens. Oh, this is the only interesting thing here. So I just saw that the Bard warded this, so I immediately place a ward over here and then back off because I'm pretty sure the Bard's going to try to Q me. That's pretty obvious. And I think I just back off because I don't really have anything else. I don't have any more wards, so I'm just going to leave because my team is also recalling. So I guess now that I saw that the Bard cleared this, I know for a fact that one, this got warded, and there's most likely another ward in here, and I also know the Bard sweeper is down, so I know that he can't clear any wards for a while. So that's pretty good news for me, because now my next goal is to just come back immediately here and try to clear up the vision in this area. So I end up going mid, try to shield this turret to try to save it for as long as possible, run up to try to pressure them to back off from this turret. I'll scare off the Bard here, and now I remember that, oh wait, this part is warded here, so I'm going to actually end up using my pink. So putting the pink as far away as possible from this wall is actually quite important. If I end up putting my pink a little bit too close, if they have a super long auto attack ranging person like a Caitlyn or Tristana or someone like that, like they can just clear the ward over this cliff. So I don't really want that to happen, so putting this pink as far away as possible is definitely the most ideal play. Now that I cleared this up, I'm going to ward this. We also saw Bard immediately ward this, so I know this is also warded, so I'll keep that in mind and try to clear that at some other point later on. I also end up putting one more ward over this wall right here. It's kind of sketchy to ward this bush right here, even though I said it was super important to ward, mostly because I don't know where the enemy jungler is. I don't know where anyone on the enemy team is. I know the Bard might be in this area somewhere, so I'd rather not take a risk of trying to ward without any vision at all and just play it safe. Put a ward right here. This is also okay. Like getting vision a little bit of this mid lane area and them walking down this corridor is almost the same as them walking straight through here, or at least in this area. So this is kind of like an okay ward if you can't actually ward this or if you're too scared. So right here, now I want to go place a ward up here, so I'm going to send up my spooky ghost to make sure there aren't anyone here. And I was thinking about warding here, but then I see that, oh wait, like this is more important. Like they're going to jump on the Callista, we're going to get a free kill. So I want an assist here, but there's no way I can actually reach the Callista in time. So I'm going to end up healing my Graves right here because I know he's going to go for an ult. So now Graves ult, he gets a kill, and I also get a free assist from shielding him. So that's really important to recognize that, you know, don't tunnel too much on like doing what you want to do. If you see that there's other opportunities to help out your team, you should immediately just do that. I guess have a little bit of map awareness, and then know that shielding anyone on your team that ends up getting assist on a champion will also give you an assist. So this applies to pretty much like everyone, like not just Janna. Like you can like Nami heal them, Soraka heal, do whatever you want. As long as you put some kind of shield on them, like you'll get an assist, which is kind of nice. So since we're going to be sieging mid, I immediately go to place a ward in this bush right here, just because this bush is really important in case the Poppy tries to flank or something like that, or maybe the LeBlanc is waiting here. I do see a pink ward is here, so I'm going to start trying to clear this out. Note, once again, like I don't know where the enemy team is, so I'm going to charge up a tornado, and in case like an enemy an enemy champion walks in to try to clear me or try to kill me while I'm clearing out this ward. So putting a tornado right here would have been good in case like the Bard was a little bit closer, the LeBlanc was gonna jump over, whatever. But I saw that Poppy was running up, so I'm just gonna back off for a little bit, make sure that my team is here to support me if the enemy team walks up. But it seems like we're okay. I try to go back again, but I'm like, oh crap, there's a LeBlanc here, so I'm gonna try to run a little bit. I unfortunately get snared, but right now I'm being really patient with my ult. I'm not like freaking out too much. I at least like charge up a tornado in case like they try to run up a bit further. I get binded with the Caitlyn, which is kind of annoying, and now this Gangplank is gonna get a barrel. I kind of get wrecked. Caitlyn kind of gets wrecked, but not too big of a loss overall. So I'm just gonna go back and heal because I'm a little bit low and I have no rewards. So I have to remember that okay, there's a pink ward in here. Need to get some vision in this jungle area so that way we can make sieging a bit easier for us. That's my next plan. So dragon's up, so I'm gonna come with my team to get dragon. Nothing super interesting happens here. I guess we're just gonna be rotating around a little bit, trying to decide what to do. I do see the Bard is here, so and my wards like get pretty good vision on Bard, which is quite nice here. Throughout the dragon fight, when the Bard was here, I actually ended up warding this bush right here, but now I know this is also pink, so now I remember there's one pink right here, one pink right here that I have to clear at some point. So I thought the Bard might have warded this bush when he walked in here, which is why I placed my pink in this bush, but unfortunately he didn't, so that was kind of a bad guess on my part. But regardless, putting a pink ward here is not that bad. Once again, putting the pink ward as far as possible from like the edge of the cliff so that no ranged enemy champion can actually clear it. Because if I put it right here, like a Bard can just auto over the cliff. But if I put it all the way over here, they have to walk all the way up here to try to clear it, and we can maybe get a bait or so. So we're running up here with the Orianna mostly because I see this Nautilus is 2v1ing like a man. Like, oh my gosh, this Nautilus is brave. But I know the Nautilus is in really big trouble, so I'm going to try to run up and save him. He's a little bit low, so I'm going to try to, put a shield on him, get a tornado ready in case anyone else tries to approach. But they all pretty much just back off. We end up saving Nautilus with the Orianna, so that's kind of nice. But right now, this is not that great of a situation because we saw that there's about 4 people here, and I don't really know if we really want to fight this. So instead of like trying to stay here with the Ori, I'm just going to kind of leave this area and maybe get some vision around their jungle. I face checked this bush because I want to check to see if they actually have a pink ward in here. This is a pretty common pink ward spot to place, like if you're on blue side. Like putting a pink ward inside next to your blue buff is pretty good. Like putting a pink ward here, if I'm on, like if for our side, is not a bad idea. So I face check that, I see a pink, so I clear it. Pretty nice. And now I see my Caitlyn and Graves are mid, and I see the Orianna is top distracting the Callista. So I know for a fact that we can just start pushing mid immediately. Like there definitely is not going to be a response from them very quickly. So Gangplank ends up clearing most of this wave with his ult. That's okay. And I'm just going to stay around here with my team, just in case we want to keep pushing, but it doesn't seem like we can keep pushing against this Gangplank. But I also see that our mid laner and jungler are killing these 2 guys up here. So now I'm just telling my team, okay, yo guys, let's rotate, because like there's 3 people here, so it's going to be a 3v3. It's not really worth trying to contest this because like why would we try to fight a 3v3, right? Like, sure, we might be able to win, but it's a much safer play to get this free guaranteed turret right here because these guys can't rotate faster than us if we just run up straight here and start auto-attacking this turret. So it's better to just not take a risk whatsoever. Gonna charge up a tornado to make sure they can't follow us, and then all 3 of us are just gonna run up here immediately and just try to go for this turret over here. So we get a free turret because of that. That's really nice. And then we decide, okay, now it's a 5v3 since we're all up here. We're going to hit this 3rd turret. So let's just start sieging right now. Let's go. So shield my Caitlyn. We start hitting this turret as fast as possible. We get this turret completely free. I once again charge up a tornado right here in case the LeBlanc wanted to jump in. She didn't, but that's fine. Now, I do see LeBlanc tries to go on Graves, so Ori and I both shield him in case he dies. Nautilus just goes in super ham. I don't know why he does that. But we're going to back off just a little bit. I'm trying to stay not too far away from my team because if they do end up getting jumped on, I need to be able to ult them. So I'm not going to stray too far away. Nautilus just goes back in. He's just like manning up super hard. But I'm trying to get vision on Poppy. I don't have any wards or anything left. but I know that the Poppy is most likely not going to really jump on me, so I'm not really afraid to just run up to the Poppy, because if she jumps on me, like, I'm just going to, like, exhaust her, tornado her. I also have backup for my team, so I'm not really afraid of Poppy. Anyways, I get another fully charged tornado on the LeBlanc and Graze, or LeBlanc and the Gangplank, I mean. So that stalls them pretty nicely. I ult them away from the Nautilus just because right here, I know that we're winning this fight pretty hard, and I'd much rather have us just be at full HP again than to just kind of use my ult to push them away, because at this point, we pretty much already won with the Gangplank and LeBlanc being super low. So I know that they're not going to really engage back in again, so I'd rather use my ult just to heal up my allies now. Now everyone's pretty much back up to full. We're going to get a free kill on the Callista, I think. Maybe? Maybe not. Well, we get a kill on the Poppy at least. That's okay, I guess. And we actually end up killing Bard as well with the Great Tool. Nice. So we actually end up getting another kill, and now we're just like, okay, let's just run now, because we definitely we were staying a little bit too long, and like, they can easily, like, turn on us with the Gangplank and LeBlanc, so we're all really low, we have no mana, let's just run away. I'm gonna run over here to my Caitlyn just in case they keep chasing her, because I'm not sure if they actually are, but I'm just gonna, you know, run up this way, throw out a tornado in case they keep chasing, and we're just gonna run away together. Not bad. Really not a bad siege at all. So now I finished my Aegis, I have Lucidity Boots, I have a Frost Queen's Claim. I'm in a really good spot right now. But for some reason, as I'm walking back here, like, I don't know how this happened, but I just found a Bard. Got random, wild Bard. So I see the Bard here, and I'm just like, okay, I'm just gonna fight you. So I just start autoing him, telling my team, yo, let's come. Bard just ends up portaling here, which is unfortunate because he meets some enemies here. That kind of sucks for him. But anyways, the more important point of this is that, so the Bard was just in our jungle, right? There's no reason there's no real reason for the Bard to be here unless he's actually going to be warding our jungle. So I know that somewhere in our jungle there's going to be some wards. So I'm going to use my sweeper. I predict it's going to be this bush right here and somewhere in this area, because he was, like, when I first found him, he was standing right around here. So I would assume he probably warded this. So I do find one ward right here. I'm going to auto and start moving up here, and I do see another ward right here. So I did guess correctly. So I pretty much just negated all of Bard's, like, attempt to, like, get our jungle warded, because I predicted correctly. Not bad to have some good game sense. And we end up getting another kill on the Callista. I think once again, in this situation, note that I know that the Nautilus is pretty much going to just wreck this Callista right now. And I know that Ori's going to try to get an assist by throwing a ball on the Nautilus. So I'm going to shield the Orianna, so that way when the Orianna shields the Nautilus, I get an assist. So, free assists. Really important on Janna. Anyways, I see the Caitlyn and Graze are pushing mid, so I'm going to stay from the team and push bot. Or I can actually go mid. I don't know which one I do, but I end up spooking Ghost. They end up getting the kill on LeBlanc. I decided I'll just go with my ADs. Whatever. I also put a ward over against this wall. This is really important because we're going to be pushing both mid and bot. So having vision of this area, transition area right here, when the enemy heroes are going to be walking back and forth between these two towers is really important. So putting a ward over the wall here is pretty good. Anyways, I think my team decides we just want to go mid instead, because I guess there's this turret up here, so we have to kind of work on that. Anyways, we end up taking this turret. Caitlyn's kind of getting wrecked right now, and I'm a little bit scared, so I'm going to end up flash shielding and ulting her just to make sure she stays alive. I don't think she actually would have died to the ignite damage, but, you know, better to be safe than sorry at this point in the game, because Caitlyn is really important for sieging. And we're actually going to end up pushing, taking this inhibitor, and just kind of slowly caving in, because they can't really do that much right now when we're so far ahead. And I think that's pretty much just going to be game. We're just going to end up autoing this. Like, I'm just chilling out here, like throwing shields or whatever. Yeah, that's pretty much game. So basically, I'm going to pause this right now. The takeaways from this game is that warding is pretty important. I think a lot of our plays that we did throughout this game were just because of rotating effectively by having vision on the enemy team, and also me just being a bit more proactive with, you know, like, for example, getting this wave pushing up here so we can take down this turret, putting up wards, like watching out for people getting caught, like, and just constantly having vision on the enemy team so that way my team can make more proactive plays is pretty important. I would, yeah, once again, like, you didn't see a lot of team fights here. We didn't have that many team fights. Like, I guess, you know, like, this game in particular, I use my ult a lot more defensively just for the heal than as, like, as an ult to kind of really push people away. So it's never bad. It's never a bad thing to use your ult just for the heal as Janna. And I guess the last tip is always just shielding your allies for free assists. I got a lot of free assists just from like shielding random people. That's kind of nice. But other than that, yeah, like this laning phase was very important for us because our other lanes weren't actually doing that well throughout the game. It wasn't really until we had a huge Clown Fiesta bot lane that we ended up coming back. So it's pretty important to trade really well, have really good presence of mind in the bot lane, because as little as impactful as most people say supports are, like, we definitely only got the kills we got because I made some pretty big plays bot lane. So yeah, that's pretty much how I play Janna. So hope you guys like this.